Hello everyone. I'm hoping you can hear me. I tried to adjust this. I picked up another little piece of equipment for my YouTube channel, and I'm going to be teaching you how to drive a stick from a different angle this time. So what I did right there, I started the vehicle in a stick shift vehicle, no matter what, 3-speed, 4-speed, 5-speed, 6-speed, 7-speed, whatever it is. You have to push the clutch pedal in, whether or not the vehicle's in gear. It was in gear this time, but whether or not the vehicle's in gear, you still have to push the clutch pedal in order to start it. You got to turn the ignition, put the clutch pedal in. If it's in gear, you're gonna want to take it out of gear, like I did, right like that, in order to get ready to go, because otherwise that happens. Now, granted, the parking brake was up, but I was just proving a point that it will stall out. The vehicle will stall out. Don't know how long I'm gonna make. I don't know how long I'm going to make this. I'm gonna try and make it as long as possible, since I'm able to do this from a different angle. Parking brake down. First gear. Turn it along because I'm going to pull out into traffic, but there is no traffic, so off we go. In order to take off, you got to release have the vehicle in gear, release the clutch pedal slowly as you're giving it a little bit of gas. Now I'm in second gear, and I'm actually going to be able to make a turn in second gear. Third gear. And as I've covered in many of my videos like this, first gear is 0 to 10. Second gear is 10 to 20. Third gear is 20 to 30. Fourth gear is 30 to 40. And anything above 40 miles an hour is fifth gear. Now that's with this vehicle. It's, as I've said in previous videos, this is a 4-cylinder, 2.3 liter engine, 5-speed. Other vehicles are going to be different. I remember I told you guys about a 02 Civic that I had. It was a 1.9 liter engine, a 99 Accord that I had. That was a 2.3 liter, so it was pretty much the same as this one. But then there was I test drove a big V8 Challenger. That was a little bit different. It was actually a little bit intimidating. And I remember I didn't test drive it, but one time I was in a vehicle that was I think it was a 07 or 09 or something like that, Civic, but it was a sports edition. It was a Civic SE or a Civic SI, and it was a 6-speed, but it was a 1.7 liter or 1.6 liter engine. So it was a smaller engine than this, but it had more gears. So it all depends on the vehicle. You're just going to have to get whatever vehicle you might have that you're trying to learn how to drive a stick in. That's why I've recommended every video that I've ever done like this. I've recommended, if you're starting out, start in a parking lot. When I learned how to drive a stick shift, I was in a parking lot for a good 10 minutes. I learned how to take off. I learned how to shift into second gear. And then I basically learned how to shift in general. And then I also took to the open road eventually. When I say open road, it was still in the city, but it was it was towards the city limits, close to the city limits when I took to the open road. And eventually you're going to learn how to, when you get good enough, you can learn how to downshift like I just did. Downshifted into second gear because I'm coming around a turn, shift in third gear. Anytime you shift, I realize I've seen videos myself of people that, they're like, well, as long as you're doing the right speed, you can actually shift without using the clutch pedal. I don't recommend doing that. I don't do that myself because it can be very difficult if you don't do it just right on the transmission. And if it costs a lot of money to fix the transmission on a stick shift vehicle, on any manual vehicle. So I always push the clutch pedal in before I shift gears. You're going to want to find, when you're starting out, you're going to want to find the bite point on the clutch. And also, when I say bite point, I mean the point in which you're able to shift. Because like right now, the clutch pedal's not in, I can't shift. You're going to want to find the bite point on the clutch, and you're also going to want to play with the shifter a little bit, not while the vehicle's running, obviously, but when you're just sitting still, push the clutch pedal in and get used to going in, shifting into first, shifting into second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, whatever, however many gears you have, shifting into reverse and all that. Get used to, using the shifter. I'm sorry, I'm coming up to an intersection. That's why I stopped talking for a moment. As I've always done in these videos, I'm going to kind of take to a more country road so that I can get up into fifth gear. Right now, there's only one spot in the city I live in where you can get into fifth gear, and that is this stretch of road right here that I'm on. Now, granted, I'm saying legally you can get into fifth gear, but I don't know how many people I've seen that don't exactly follow the speed limit. It is what it is. I mean, I myself have been known to do a little bit over the speed limit. Several months ago, maybe not several months ago, but at least a few months ago, I was pulled over for speeding. Won't say how fast I was going, but I was speeding. And the officer pulled me over and he goes, "You're just going a little bit fast." I'm like, "Yeah, sorry about that." He didn't give me a ticket, he just told me to slow down. The reason I mentioned that is, like I said, yes, the speed limit's in town, the town that I live in. There's only one spot that legally you can get into fifth gear in this vehicle, but that doesn't mean people don't go above that in a lot of areas. Fourth, fifth. I could have skipped gears there just to show you how to do it, but I just didn't feel like it. Maybe I'll do it on the way back, I don't know. And as I've covered multiple times in all of these videos, or at least tried to, there's 3 different ways of slowing down and or stopping in a stick shift. The first and most common in my opinion is to push the clutch pedal in, put the vehicle in neutral like it is right now. Put it back in fifth gear so I don't anyway, put the vehicle in neutral and hit the brake. Second way, and a little bit more advanced, is to push the clutch pedal in. If the vehicle is in gear, push the clutch pedal in and the brake in simultaneously, or push the clutch pedal in and then slowly push on the brake, so slow down and or stop as needed. And then just, if the vehicle is in like fifth gear, just shift into first gear to take off. And the most advanced, in my opinion, is to downshift. And I can cover that here in a little bit, but basically, I'm in fifth gear right now. I'm doing 60 miles an hour. If I wanted to slow down by downshifting, all I would have to do is, in this vehicle, the way I like to do it is I like to be no higher than 55 miles an hour. So I would shift into neutral, or I put the vehicle in neutral, then glide into 55 miles an hour, then push the clutch pedal in, downshift into fourth gear, and the vehicle will slow down on its own. And then once I get down to about probably 35 to 38 miles an hour, I downshift into third gear, and the vehicle would continue to slow down by itself. Once I got down to maybe 25 to 28 miles an hour, I downshift into second gear. I do not downshift into first gear, and I hardly even downshift into second gear. But I do not downshift into first gear because I don't feel it's necessary. That's me. It's my car. That's how I like to drive. When you learn how to drive a stick shift, you might want to do that. Some people, I remember not long after I learned how to drive a stick shift back in 2016, I was talking to a buddy of mine, and he said that he doesn't like to use first gear even. He likes to take off from second gear. That's his, it was... Sorry, I'm getting over a cold, which is why I haven't posted as much in this last week, but that was his decision. He decided he didn't want to use first gear. He wanted to take off from second gear. It was his vehicle. It was his choice. I don't do that. I have done it for a video or two, or I've done it just to see if I can do it, but I do not do it. I haven't done it hardly at all since I learned how to drive a stick shift, because there's a reason you have first gear, second gear, third gear. There's a reason, however many gears you have in your manual stick shift vehicle, or manual vehicle in general, because there's 3 on a tree, there's 3 on the floor, there's many different types of manual vehicles from over the years, but there's a reason you have first gear in all those vehicles, and there's also, or as some vehicles, they have like the stick shift, the shifter is labeled like low, first, second, third, then like high, and then reverse, or something along those lines. There's a reason you have a first gear. There's a reason you have all those gears. Use them. That's my personal opinion. You can do whatever you want in your vehicle. The way I set this camera up this time, I'm really hoping you can hear me, because if you can't, you're probably just seeing me move my hand around a lot. But I'm still driving a stick. Just really hoping you can hear me. I'm trying to think of things that I've covered in previous videos that I may want to touch on again, but I'm having a difficult time thinking about everything, because I posted, I believe, 11 actual how to drive a stick shift videos, and a few videos where like I was just kind of seeing if I could do something. Like one time I remember I took off from first gear, and then I said I would never do this, but I did it for the video. Took off from first gear, shifted into, sped up enough to where I could shift it directly into third gear, and then sped up enough to where I could shift directly into fifth gear. So I didn't ever do that, but I did. There was also another video where I took off, I believe I took off from second gear, and then either I shifted into third and then fourth and fifth, or I shifted into fourth and the fifth. I can't remember. I know that there's been a few videos where I've skipped gears to show people how to do it, but I can't remember how many of those I've done. There was one video that I posted that was actually just kind of really, I just did it for giggles. My niece helped me. I started in first gear, had her start the video, pause it after like 2 seconds, and then I got all the way up and shifted into fifth gear. I didn't skip all those gears. I just drove, sped up enough, eventually shifted into fifth gear, and had her start the video again, and then pause, or then stop it after like 3 more seconds, and I posted it, entitled it shifting from first to fifth in a standard stick. That got quite a few views, but it was edited, and also it was just for grins. Coming up on the point where I'm going to downshift, so shift into neutral, glide, Fourth gear, vehicle slows down by itself. Third gear, and it continues to slow down by itself. The reason I shifted back into fourth is because I got somebody coming up on me kind of quick, and so I'm just going to glide in neutral and turn, because I'm turning right here anyway. As I'm turning, I can shift into second gear. That's something that the first person to help me learn how to drive a stick shift was the person that sold me the 99 Accord that I had for a few years, or for, I don't know, maybe a year and a half. And that person told me that if you do it right, you can shift into second gear, and you can take turns in second gear as long as you're careful and do it right. And so far throughout the years, I've been able to, in all the vehicles I've had that were stick shifts, I've been able to take turns in second gear. Shift into neutral, slowly glide, because I'm going to be turning around. I know I've touched on this in previous videos, but I don't think I've said this in a while. I know the first stick shift video I did, it was only like 3 minutes long, and I actually downshifted instead of shifting into neutral and hitting the brake. And somebody got on a media platform that I posted that video on. Second gear, sped up to 30 miles an hour, and it shifted directly into fourth gear right there. That's how you skip gears. I don't recommend doing that all the time. Like I said, I only do that for videos most of the time. There's a reason you have all those gears, use them. Anyway, somebody got on a media platform that I posted that first video on and asked if, while you're driving a stick, if you had to downshift in order to slow down. No. That's as I said earlier in this video and in previous videos, that's the most advanced way, in my opinion, to slow down and or stop. Most of the time, I prefer to put the vehicle in neutral and use it and hit the brake. Sometimes I downshift. It just depends. Most of the time I downshift if the speed limit slows down. Like if the speed limit, there's spots in the city where I live that the speed limit goes from like 50 miles an hour down to 30 miles an hour. And in those circumstances, in those situations, I will downshift. But most of the time when I'm actually coming to a stop, I prefer to put the vehicle in neutral and hit the brake, or simultaneously hit the brake and the clutch. But I said I downshift for the videos. Back in fifth gear now, obviously, because this road I'm on, the speed limit's like 55 or 50 or 55. I think it's 55. But like clockwork, I'm doing I think about 57 mile an hour, 56, 57 mile an hour, and people ahead of me are getting further away. I will say this, while I'm making this video, I'm also going to do a little bit of a shout out, because last time I checked, I was at 580 subscribers. Last time I did a shout out video by itself, I was at 501. Now I'm at 580. And I don't have the words to express how grateful I am that my channel has grown so much in such a short time. As I've said it in those shout out videos multiple times, in about March, like 10th or 12th or something of this year, I was at 100 subscribers. Finally hit 3 digits. Well, then, I think I may have put 4 fingers up when I said that. Anyway, finally hit triple digits. Well, then, that was in March. We're coming up on October. We're not in October yet, but we're coming up on it. And I'm already at 580. Like I said, I don't have the words to express how grateful I am that my channel has grown so much and so consistently. And that's another reason why I'm trying to post content as consistently as I can and post things that that will hopefully bring in more subscribers and more views. Because honestly, I'm wanting to grow my channel enough to where I can be a full-time YouTuber and put, thousands to maybe even millions of dollars into my content. If that never happens, it never happens. I'm still having a blast doing this, and everybody that does subscribe to my channel, thank you so much. You guys are making it so worth it to do all this. And I realize I also make a broad range of content. That's just how I enjoy making content. Just earlier today, I posted 2 animal videos, specifically dog videos. Now I'm making a how to drive a stick shift vehicle, even though I made one yesterday, the day before. I believe it was yesterday. I've done Blue River Air Park. I've done range videos, done firearm videos. I've done like how to use a speed loader for a semi-automatic pistol. I've done how to use a speed loader for a revolver. I do things I enjoy, and that's why I make a broad range of content. That, and I'm hoping that the broader the content, the broader the audience. So yeah, we're coming up in another maybe a couple miles. I'll be getting back to the city limits. All this country road stuff, I mean, yes, it is kind of a country road, but it's I think part of the reason I don't think it has a lot of traffic on it is because it's such a big road, long road. But in terms of the city limits, I'll be coming up on those real soon. I don't know if the right word is city limits. Maybe like more. I don't know what the right words are. Because this entire time I've been in the same city, I just have been, or town, if you will, I've just been kind of on the outskirts. If there's any questions you guys might have about how to drive a stick shift more, how do I say this? If there's any more any specific questions you have on how to drive a stick shift, don't be afraid to ask them in the comments or something like that. I'll be happy to try and answer them. Like I said, there was the first video I ever posted. It was I downshifted instead of slowing down with the brake or slowing down with by hitting the brake and clutch simultaneously. I downshifted, and somebody got on there and asked if they had to downshift while driving a stick, and I was quick to answer that question in my next video, like my next how to drive a stick shift video. So if you come up with any questions that you might want to ask, don't be afraid to message me in the comments. And as I've always said in these videos, if you haven't already, please subscribe. As I said, I'm trying to get my channel to grow so I can be a full-time YouTuber and do bigger videos, longer videos, challenge videos. I want to be able to put out more and more content as time goes on. I don't want to say I was tired of doing this, but like the reason I invested in a tripod stand for my YouTube channel was so that I could take it to the shooting range and do videos myself instead of having to find a friend to take with me to pay for them to do some shooting or pay for them to do, make sure they had time available to go with me. And I'd have to take them with me to hold the camera while I did the shooting, or something like that. I invested in the tripod stand so I could go there by myself and do content more consistently. And the reason I invested in this, I guess you might say, cell phone holder or camera holder, it's like it's a window mount. Right now it's a window mount, but it can be a dash mount, it can be a door mount. I invested in this so I could do better videos of how to drive a stick shift, or better videos in my vehicle, which I've done a few of over the time that I've had my channel. I keep trying to think of different ways to invest in my channel as it continues to grow. As you can see, like I said, I don't downshift very often, so that's why I put the vehicle in neutral, and I'm going to hit the brake. I'm gliding right now to slow down. If you saw how quickly I went from first to second, or how quickly I shifted to second gear right there, that's why my buddy a while back in 2016 told me he doesn't like to use first gear because you have to shift so soon after you take off. Okay, that may be the case, but I still use first gear. As I said, it can be difficult on the extremely difficult on the transmission if you do that over a long period of time, and if you don't do it just right, it's going to be difficult. It can either damage the transmission, or you can stall out. The vehicle will stall out because you're not hitting the gas hard enough. So I've only taken off from second gear a few times in the 7 years plus that I've been driving a manual transmission vehicle. And the reason being is because there's a reason you have a first gear. Use it. Here coming up, I'm going to be downshifting again because the speed limit goes from 45 miles an hour down to 35 miles an hour. Fifth gear to fourth gear. And I'm doing 35 now, so I'm just going to keep doing that. Here soon, the speed limit, I think, goes from 35 to 30 or maybe 25. I don't know if it changes at all. But I am going to be downshifting again because I'm coming up on a stop sign. Third gear. Vehicle slows down. But I'm not going to downshift into second because, like I said, I hardly even do that. I do not downshift into first. The reason I stayed in first is because I was in a line of people and it wasn't my turn to go yet. Coming up on the end of this. If you've been kind enough to take your time and watch this to the very end, thank you very, very much. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe as always. Or please, I ask that people to subscribe as always, but sorry, I'm at an intersection. That's why I had to stop for a second. I don't know how much content I'll be posting this week. I know that I did not post as much as I normally do last week. I know that because I got the weekly recap. I got a notification on my phone that said weekly recap is ready, and I looked, and I did not post near as much as I normally do, but I was also battling some sickness, so that's why I wasn't posting as much. I actually put a video up saying that I wasn't going to be posting as much because I was sick. I was picking between two different places to go next before stopping the video, and I was going to go to this place that's right over here, but instead I'm going to go to the other place that I was thinking about. It's not very far from that other place, but it is a little bit further away. Let's get ready to park. As I said before, if you haven't already, please subscribe. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned a little bit. And I'll talk to everyone very soon. Parking brake up. Vehicle off. And this is what I like to do when I park. Put the vehicle either in first gear or, depending on how I'm sitting, reverse.